and you shop for your new Bible. As we begin to talk about how we got our English Bible, we organize our discussion under three headings: pre-1611, 1611, and since 1611. There is no way that I could summarize all of that discussion in just a short presentation, so I want to hit a few high points. As you read the discussion about pre-1611, one of the things you'll notice is the high price that was paid by Bible translators. As you read about the Wycliffe Bible and the Coverdale Bible and the Geneva Bible and the Great Bible, you'll notice how much of a sacrifice these translators made. John Wycliffe, for example, was persecuted because of his desire to put the Bible into the language that people could actually understand. When you move to the 1611 stage, the authorized version of 1611 is more commonly known as the King James Version, and we would say it's a very good translation for people living in the 17th and 18th centuries. It's widely used today, and it seems like there might be a couple of problems with that. Number one, that translation was made using only a few very late New Testament manuscripts. It was done by the best scholars of the day, but they didn't have much to work with. Also, one of the problems that we struggle with is that the language is simply outdated. Most people today simply could not read the 1611 King James Version. The version that we see is a translation made in the late 1700s. In James 5:11, the King James translates it this way: "The Lord is very pitiful." Now, if I stood up to preach a sermon, and that was my text, and I said, James 5:11 says, "The Lord is very pitiful," can you imagine the looks I would get? Because pitiful in that day meant compassionate or merciful, but today it means something like pathetic. And we would never say the Lord is pathetic. We would say the Lord is compassionate or merciful. As you begin moving into the modern era of translation, there are some translations that still are sort of connected to the King James Version. Translations such as the English Revised Version, the American Standard Version, or the New King James Version. Other modern translations have gone a bit different direction, and there are many, many great Bible translations. Some of those that are more popular among evangelicals include the New American Standard Bible, the New Revised Standard Version, the Holman Christian Standard Version, the New International Version, the English Standard Version, and the Net Bible. Before we talk about how to choose a translation, we need to understand just a bit more about how translation works. It's actually a lot more complicated than you might think. It's not just that you have a word in one language, and then in every other language you have the same word if you could just find it. You number those words, and then you string them together. You see, Greek and Hebrew and English are not exactly alike. The New Testament scholar D.A. Carson has a discussion about why translation is complicated, and he mentions several reasons. For one, no two words are exactly alike. The vocabulary is different in the two languages. The languages put words together differently, and languages simply have different stylistic preferences. To say then that literal is more accurate doesn't always get it right. Let's look at Matthew 17:18, for example. If you were to do a literal translation of this passage, it would read, "And rebuked it," the Jesus, "and came out from him the demon, and was healed the boy from the hour that." Now, if a student turned in that translation in my Greek class and asked for a grade, it wouldn't be good. Literal is not always more accurate. Again, we're trying to move the meaning from one language to another. The New Testament scholar Mark Strauss defines translation in this way: it entails reproducing the meaning of a text that is in one language, the source language, as fully as possible in another language, the receptor language. There are a couple of